My lords, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to episode 3 of the latest Transport Fever 2 series on our nice and small randomly generated is a better term, yes, randomly generated map. At the minute we're just following along with the train that was set up in episode number 2 that runs from the oil fields over by Herne Bay to the refinery. It's making reasonable enough profits for us, nothing game changing, nothing groundbreaking, but it is bringing us some money in and tiding us over quite nicely. At the end of the previous episode we did discuss the next expansion venture for the company, and we were looking at setting up a stone run up in the north towards the town of Epping. Still planning on going ahead with that. I did also mention perhaps letting the game run just a little between episodes to build up a little bit of a war chest in order to finance the expansion. I decided against that, so we're pretty much picking up almost exactly where we left off in episode 2, so there hasn't been too many developments between the previous episode and this one. So if we hop off this train now so we can see the full state of affairs, we're, what's that, $750,000, cash flow of around about $135,000, so we are making money, although as I said it's nothing groundbreaking at this time, so we do still have to be very careful about our future expansions. However, if we go up towards Epping, I still think this is the best choice for us. And we can't do anything with the bricks immediately, they're not required in Epping. Where are they required? Down in Axbridge. Well, we could have a road delivery line down here, but it's going to be too far for it to be entirely feasible. So I think what we'll start with is, as we mentioned, just running the stone into the construction materials plant, and we'll see what that does for us. So as we pointed out, we do have this road heading towards Epping from the quarry, but it doesn't actually connect into the brickworks nestled on the other side of this hill just here. So what we're going to do, we're going to have a bypass road, because rather than coming into Epping, where the vehicles will have obviously a negative influence on the town growth due to noise pollution, we'll bypass them all the way round, and that should, well, hopefully keep any noise pollution to a very, very bare minimum, if any at all. So let's make a start on that, and this shouldn't be too expensive, and to save a little bit of money we will go with the smaller roads to start with. So I'm thinking I think what we'll do is we'll actually just delete this little stretch here and have the primary direction of the road being towards the new bypass, and then this will be the junction. That means the vehicles won't have to slow down to take the bypass, because that's the natural direction that the road is taking anyway. So we want to make sure we really do skirt past the town of Epping, just so we can avoid any negative influences from the noise pollution. So we've climbed up to go down there, but that's fine. We will follow the lay of the land to make it look a little bit more natural, rather than just ploughing through with a tunnel or having some ridiculous earthworks. What I'm also doing here is just following the path laid out for us with these clumps of trees. So rather than ploughing straight through the middle, which would be obviously slightly more of a direct route, we will skirt around the edges of them to keep the trees in place. We are getting close now to the construction materials plant, as we can see. And where is the access road? And there is, it's set up on this little plateau of sorts up here, so we need to bring the road down from there, and that is going to cut in somewhat, but I think we can make it look, no, see, if we do that, it does make it look, it's steeper, so it's more of a challenge for the vehicles, but it looks a little bit more natural because it's almost set against the natural gradient of the land. So we'll go for that, and then we just want to curl this road into there like so, and I think that will be pretty good for what we need it to do. So we've bypassed epping entirely, so we shouldn't have any problems with noise pollution and the likes. It's cost us a fair bit of money to set that up, as we can see, but we should still have enough for the remaining infrastructure that we need. So what is it that we need? Well, it's a truck station, of course, outside of the quarry. We'll only go for one platform to save money, and here we go. I think, yeah, we'll even save a little bit more by just having a 10-meter platform rather than the one I tend to go for, which is the 30-meter. It does mean we can't store as much stone here between pickups, but that shouldn't be too much of a problem, I shouldn't think. And we have it where, maybe if we have it over, no, we want it on this side. I'm just trying to get it somewhere where it's not too much terraforming, because as we can see, it does add to the costs, and I think that's pretty much as good as we're gonna get. So if we just rename this to the Epping Quarry while we've got the UI open, and then while we're here we'll also configure it to add in the second street access. And in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it properly, quote unquote, by having a one-way station entrance and then a one-way station exit, like so. Okay, so the final piece of the puzzle here is, of course, the roads connecting it to the main network. I didn't mean to pause that. So we can close that down. Over time, of course, once we have enough funds to do so, we will sort out some of these artifacts of the terrain due to the terraforming, but for now it's fine. Okay then, so now we can head over here, and at this point I'm quite tempted just to use the roadside drop-off for, well, dropping off. And to do that, what I would like to do, if we can do it without, yeah, that'll be fine, is have a loop road, and this will be where the drop-off point is actually located. And this way, because the game is all right-hand drive, even though it's a UK map, it means we're coming up here and then going around here, back and down, so the lines, the vehicles don't have to cut across one another to get in or to rejoin the main route. Church Street, yeah, we will rename it. I was in two minds, and this will be Epping Brickworks. Okay, right, so we need a depot, of course. Now we are going to struggle here to actually afford many vehicles to run this route, but it is what it is. Right, road depot. If we put it out of town somewhere like here, then it's going to also be able to, you know, service Epping itself as and when we start having bus routes in the town of Epping. So yeah, that'll serve both this cargo run and any passenger routes that we have further down the line. Okay then, so the last thing we need to do before we purchase the vehicles is, of course, to set up the line itself. Now we're carrying stone, so we want a stone coloured line for this, and that one will do. Maybe a little bit darker actually, so it stands out a little clearer. Yeah, there we go. So as we can see, look, there's no crossing over there, and if we go up here we should see the exact same. Yep, no crossing over at all there, and of course they are taking the bypass because there's no other alternative options for them but to take the bypass. Okay, so T for trucks, and this will be our stone. Yeah, do we want to mix up the naming convention a little bit? I was thinking something maybe like the Epping Stone Run. Yeah, I think we will. I may end up renaming it down the line, but here we go. So this is the Epping Stone Run. We don't need to put freight or what's the other one, haulage, because we know what vehicles are being used by these identifiers that we use at the start of the line name. Get my words out. So yeah, the Epping Stone Run will do. And let's just quickly sort this out. So we want them to wait as long as they need to for a full load when they get to the quarry. We don't really need to do this bit here, but we're going to do it anyway, just for force of habit more than anything else. So loading stone here, unloading at the brickworks, and then that is it. Now the problem with this line is 50% of the time they're not making us any money, because when they, well, if you think about it, they've got to come all the way down here and then all the way back to make any sort of money. So that could be a problem, but we shall see how we get on. We were negative, but we've just had a little delivery there, so the cash has jumped back into the positive, 300,000. Let's see how much that would finance. So we want cargo, and we will go for the can stats, even though they are more expensive than the horse-drawn carriages. They do, well, they carry the same, but that little boost of speed plus power is going to be quite useful. So they're 60,000 a piece, so as I said, I'm not going to be able to afford to get too many of these in one go. In fact, as it stands, we can only purchase 4. So we'll do that. We will colour them just to match the line colour that they're operating on, and we'll set them away on the Epping Stone Run. Now, I'm quite tempted to borrow some more from the bank. We do have a maximum credit line of 30 million. We currently only have 10, so we're using 1/3 of that. However, as you can remember in the setup, the loan interest is a little bit more punishing than it would be by default. However, to get plenty of vehicles on this, it should pay for itself, I hope. So let's give it a go. How much should we borrow to finance this? You know what, I might take it up to 10 million. And that'll give us a total loan of 20 million, which, as we can see, as we can calculate, it'll bump our loan interest repayments from, well, let's call that 200,000. So it's going to go to $400,000. Let's do it anyway. So let's get ourselves 20 million in terms of total loan. There we go, there's 20 million, so we've got just under 10 million available. We're not going to plough all that into these vehicles, that would be a little bit silly. How many would 50 cost us? Oh, not just under 3 million. Well, that's 75. 4 million, that will do. So let's colour those and allow them to join the Epping Stone one. And with the remaining loan that we have, I'm quite tempted to duplicate this train and have 2 making this run. We have plenty of production over here, and so we're not going to have any sort of hold-ups in terms of loading over here or overloading the station. The industry not be able to keep up with the amount that we have, if you follow me. 2 new trucks. They might be worthwhile, actually. Maybe it's worth spending the money on the... In fact, no. We'll spend the money on an extra train first of all. Now, if we're going to do that, of course, we're going to need a passing loop, because this is only 1 track at the minute, so we can't run 2 on this. It wouldn't work. Right, so if we find the midpoint, which is round about here, and we'll put ourselves a nice passing loop, and let's get as much speed out of this as we can. So if we go to 75, which should be there. Okay, it's still 75, but went a bit longer than it needed to. And then say maybe after the level crossing here is where we'll come back in, and again we want to be looking to get 75 miles per hour out of this, which is just there. So we've got no slowdown for the trains at all, not that these trains are capable of getting anywhere near to 75 miles per hour. Now we are going to use left-hand drive for our trains. That is absolutely hideous. I'm going to have to redo that because I can't, that doesn't sit nicely. So let's just do that again. Oh, it's too much. It's too much. Right, 75. How does it look this time? It should be okay because it's... Oh, there we go. Is that where we want it to be? Maybe down just a in fact, I think that is pretty good. Yeah. Are we all happy with that? Well, I certainly am. Yep, that will do. Now, yeah, back to the signal work. So, as I said, we are going to have left-hand signals for our trains. And we are going to use the UK semaphore path signal. Again, get your words out. This is obviously a mod that is available on the workshop. And if we quickly put one down there, okay, no, he just crept over the switch there. So we are going to have to reverse his direction just a little. Where is the switch? We should see it. I think it's, yep, just there. There we go, and now he can actually take the correct path. We only need the 2 signals as it stands. Right, can we afford to duplicate this train? I hope we can. Yes, we can, and we've got just under 1 million left available. So that should be all good, and hopefully that will, well, it shouldn't make us a loss. The one we need to keep an eye on is this one here. That is a lot of trucks. Have any started making the return? Yeah, there's our lead vehicle, if you will, this one just here. Out of curiosity then, how much would it cost to replace all of these with the new bends that we just unlocked? Epping Stone Run, replace selected vehicle. And which one would we want to use? It would have to be this one. It is more expensive to run and obviously a lot more expensive to purchase, but we do have a very big boost in terms of its top speed. Well, look at that, because these trucks are new and they haven't depreciated in value, it's only going to cost us 70. Oh no, that's one vehicle, never mind. Ah yes, that's a little bit more like it. Yeah, 5 million, so we can't afford that. So I think the money was arguably better spent on the train here. What about over here? Again, I'm going to go ahead and say we're not going to be able to afford to do it, but just to see how much would it actually cost if we were to do it. And for this one, look, we could use this because it is only carrying logs and planks. Our tools delivery are handled by separate vehicles. 6.5 million. Just goes to show what a difference it makes when the trucks start to depreciate in value over time. We might be able to do it for the tools delivery vehicles here. If you remember, we did opt for the horse and horse-drawn carriages for this one. So these are very, very basic, very entry-level vehicles that we have here. Now, we could do that if we do it now. Yep. So the emission value has gone up here. You know, the horse-drawn carriages were a lot quieter than these Benzers, but these Benzers are ever so slightly quieter than the Cannstatt. I think the Cannstatt has a noise emission value of 73, and these clock in at 70, so slightly quieter, although they are more, not louder, they are higher in volume. I can't even think how to phrase that properly. Yeah, they make more noise than the horse-drawn carriages, but the trade-off, of course, is they are a lot faster, and these also have a higher carrying capacity. I think these carry 7, whereas the horse-drawn carriages were only carrying 5. Okay, so what I'd like to do now is actually just leave it for a little while and put a little cut in the episode at this point while we wait to see how this line does once it's fully bedded in. Now, as we can see, we have a big backlog here of trucks waiting to get in to pick up, but I think that because of the distance they're travelling, that should balance out over time. In fact, I'm fairly confident that it will, and if not, we can always sell some of them manually anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'll stop the date speed so we don't have any progression through the epochs, and instead just go to 4 times acceleration and give this time to bed in, settle itself down, and we'll come back to this and see if we need to get rid of some of these, because at the minute it looks like we might have to, but who knows. If these start to get back and start joining this queue, then I'm going to go ahead and say we will have to get rid of some, but we shall see. So yeah, we'll put a little cut in at this point and we'll see how we're getting on, and obviously we want to see how this is going to be looking, because at the minute it's not too healthy, but we shall see. So I'll see you in just a few moments time. Okay, so this is not the end of the jump cut, but I just want to see how much he's going to make per delivery. 27,000, and as we can see, to do a full one it costs about 10,000, so these should, I think, yeah, they should be profitable. 8 it might be touch and go actually. We shall we'll come back and see overall. As we can see, the queue is still backlogged all the way down here and they've not worked through, so yeah, we'll cut again here and we'll come back once this has been addressed. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We can see the first vehicles to make a drop off are coming back and the queue is still here, so we are going to have to get rid of some of these. I've made a start in selling some of the vehicles, so I'm just going to carry on with that just so there isn't this huge backlog. Clearly I overdid it. I think where we did 4 originally and then 75 I think it was after we took out the 10 million loan, so yes, 79 is clearly far too many for this line, and we've massively oversaturated it, so we are going to have to get rid of some of these. So that's what we're doing here, just going through, clicking the ones in the queue at random and just selling them back to the depot. So that's making us a little bit of money, not massive, but it's every little does help. During the intervening period I have had a look at the train line and how that's doing after we've doubled up, and it looks like it's doing okay. It's still profitable, which is good. Yeah, I think the profit margins are pretty much as they were, so you know, it's not, it's not been a massive game changer for us, but we are still making money on the train line, which is the main thing and the overall thing, of course. It's just working through this queue here. As we can see, we are getting close to having the queue eradicated, which is what we want. So should be maybe sell another 6 or so, and I think we should be okay. I did think we'd be able to keep up, or the industry would be able to keep up in terms of production, but clearly not, and we are now getting to the point where we are selling some of the trucks that have made us a delivery already. It doesn't really make a difference in the grand scheme of things, and I think that might even do it. I know we've got a little queue here, but obviously it's no longer snaked all the way back here. But maybe get rid of one more, and ideally, oh, Long Eaton now accepts food. Very interesting, very good. Yes, he should leave before he gets behind. Let's have a look. Yeah, there we go. And again, the next one, he should depart just in time for this this one here to join in. Yep, brilliant. There we go. So that looks pretty good. We'll keep an eye on that over time. So what we're going to do now is restart the date progression to 1/2 speed and go back down to 1 times overall game acceleration. So yeah, we've got decent spacing on this line, and I think now, will it be making us a profit? Well, let's find out. The Epping Stone one, $71,000 profit. A throughput rate of 89 per year and a frequency of 41, although that may have been taken into consideration the huge amount of vehicles we had, so we'll have to come back and check on that later. As I mentioned, I have checked this line as well, and as we can see, yep, it's making us, well, it was making us a profit. That should change. This train's about to come alongside, so, and as we can see, yeah, so before, our profit margin was around about 500, so what's about 174, and now we're looking at 1.35 million. So yeah, the profit margin has increased slightly. It's pretty much doubled actually, I think, from about 150 to around about 300,000, so that was a worthwhile investment. How are these guys doing? So obviously these do have increased capacity and speed. Hopefully we're not overdoing it, and it looks like we are. So what's the hold up here? It's just the throughput of the wood, isn't it, from here? Regardless, it doesn't matter what the hold up is. We clearly have too many of these vehicles, so let's get rid of 2. So there's not actually any sort of bottleneck here. It is just the vehicle's speed, and I guess it's the production here as well. Yeah, it's obviously still not leveled up. This has, if you remember, that leveled up, I think it was in episode number 2, which is great. So yes, as we saw, Long Eaton now accepts food. Now we do have a food processing plant just here. Do we have any nearby farms? Man, we have this one here, but it's too far for it to be feasible via road vehicle. It would have to be part of the rail network, so that's not something we're going to be able to set up in the immediate future, because we have to set up the infrastructure, and of course the vehicles themselves also cost quite a lot of money. Well, that's something we can keep in mind for the future. Things looking okay over here. Yeah, it's starting to build up a surplus on the platform, which is absolutely fine. It's not Obviously it does mean it's not 100% efficient, but it's still, hopefully it's still making us money. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's making us pretty decent money actually. This is clearly from when we had the plethora of road vehicles on the line. What was it costing us? 645,000 in maintenance. That's now dropped. Well, that could still include some of the ones that we've subsequently sold, but if we say it's costing us 500, maybe 400, bearing in mind we may have sold a few in this financial year, either way it's going to be profitable, which is the main thing here. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, that's where we'll call an end to today's episode. I still haven't, as of yet, increased the loan repayment cost from 200 to 400%. It is something I still want to do. So we are going to have to be mindful of this. So if we were to do that, obviously this is going to jump up to around about $800,000, which is quite a lot of money. So we do want to think about repaying some of this. I'm not going to do it yet because we need something for the next episode. Otherwise we're just going to be sat here waiting, which is something we really want to avoid doing if we can. So for the next expansion venture then, in terms of stuff we have nearby, there is this, but logic dictates we'd expand this with another rail link, which again is quite expensive. So that might be something we do a little bit later on once we're a little bit more financially stable. However, we could start bringing in the coal into the steel mill here at Axbridge. We have the coal mine here, and this would be doable with a road vehicle transportation link because it's not too far. So that's possible, and it should also be quite profitable as well. And then we'd have 1, 2, 3 road delivery lines forming the bedrock of our business, and all 3 of them should be profitable even if they're not massively so. Speaking of which, let's just have a look at our lines as things stand. So yeah, everything is still making us decent enough profits, although as I just said, it's nothing that's gonna change the world for us at this moment in time, but it's a solid start, and that's the main thing. So let's jump on board. Let's have a little ride on. What about you? Although there's not really that much to see down here. Maybe we'll get one what's just about halfway. In fact, we'll just jump on one and we'll leave it to run as a little outro for a little while. It won't be too long, but because there's not much to see really, it'd be a little bit boring to go the whole way back. But yeah, we'll leave it for a couple of minutes as a little outro. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode and you're enjoying the start of this series. A bit more slower paced than usual perhaps, but that's fine. It's nice to mix things up, and I must say having a small map does present its own challenges because you don't have as many options available to you for future lines and expansion, but that's all part of the game, and yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. So if you have enjoyed the episode and you're enjoying the series, then hit that like button down below, and if you're new and you want to keep up to date, then obviously go ahead and subscribe as well. It really does help out immensely. But for now, all that remains for me to say is, as always, ladies and gentlemen, take very good care of yourselves. It's ta-ta for now.